Welcome to Clipping In. Sunday the 13th of August, and I think it's sometime just after 8 AM. Now this is a rather special edition of Clipping In because it's more or less 1 year since I set up the channel, and this video will also be number 52 in the catalogue, so I'm going to try and make it a good one. Last Sunday's video, I came out through Leeds and Tadcaster, and I passed through the village of Towton, and I made reference to the Battle of Towton. And at the time I said it was the bloodiest battle on English soil, involving the largest number of combatants. And I was thinking, even after I said that, well, what about Marston Moor? But when I was editing the video, I looked it up, and Towton was slightly bigger in terms of both combatants and casualties. Marston Moor was a major battle, 1644, in the First English Civil War. We say English Civil War, but the Scots were involved too. Well, I thought, why not? A good enough excuse for a ride. Go out to Marston Moor and have a look there. Marston Moor is probably about 8 to 10 miles away from York, and Towton that I visited last weekend just a little bit further. But these battles always seem to happen around York because for a very long time, from Roman times onwards, York was the second city. Certainly when the Romans consolidated Britannia behind Hadrian's Wall, they divided the country into two parts, and York was the capital of Britannia Secunda, and really that place of importance continued through what we'd now call the Dark Ages, through the Viking times, right through medieval times. Now at the moment I'm probably about 9 miles from York, so should I visit York on this ride as well as the battlefield at Marston? I'll have to put it to a vote, like one of those interactive computer games from the 80s, or Bandersnatch or something. Hit like if you want me to go to York, and leave a comment if you don't want me to go to York. Answers will be looked at very shortly. Having possession of York was often a feather in the cap of any side in the Civil War, and that was certainly the case in the War of the Roses and in the English Civil War that we're talking about, because for Marston Moor, which was 1644, York was held by the Royalists, and an alliance of Parliament and Scottish Covenanters laid siege to York, trying to winkle them out, and eventually Royalist forces under Prince Rupert came to relieve the siege of York, which they did, but they realised that if additional parliamentary forces arrived, it could very soon resume a second siege of York, and that's why Prince Rupert decided to use the element of surprise, and burst out of York and give battle to the Parliament and Scots. I've ridden 40 miles now. I'm somewhere near Askham-Bryan. I'll freely admit I don't know this area at all. These are brand new roads to me. Nice and quiet, a mixture of lanes and, well, B roads really. I'm reliant on a little bit of place name memory and road signs, but it's pleasant enough. Well, the results are in and we're going to York. I dropped a few clangers en route. I'm sure a York native wouldn't have made those mistakes. I ended up just time trialling on an A road for about 2 or 3 miles, but just one of those things. Hopefully now the roads are going to get slightly busier, and I think I'm around 3 or 4 miles from interesting York. Well, I've done a little lap of the city walls, but the traffic on that sort of outer ring road is just too thick to do any filming. So I've taken something that's marked as pedestrians and cyclists, that's pointing to the city centre, and hopefully I'll do a few little stops and get a look at the Minster at least. Otherwise it'll be a purely personal York tour. Here we are, the Minster itself, with old Constantine looking over. Roman column. Goodness me. Nice sunny summer Sunday, so obviously York's packed. And everybody wants a photograph with the Minster and the walls and everything else during the queue. Well, that was an adventure. Bit too much traffic, but you know, apart from that, bit of an adventure. New roads, I've no idea what I was doing, just navigating on signs and traffic jams, but I've got out towards Askham-Bryan, which should now set me up for finding Marston Moor. Digression over. So I've ridden about 59 miles and I'm approaching the site of the battlefield for Marston Moor. If we look ahead, you can see an obelisk, which we'll stop and have a little look at. If we can read the inscription. Battle of Marston Moor, 2nd of July 1644. Near this site, the parliamentary army left to the leadership of Oliver Cromwell, supported by David Leslie, completed the defeat of the forces of Prince Rupert. Thomas Fairfax, who I think was originally from near Ilkley, Middleton Hall perhaps. This memorial was erected by the Cromwell Association and the Harrogate Group of the Yorkshire Archaeological Society. Restored 1973. Amazing. Just imagine that the tractor and the bales weren't there. And I think that slightly high ground there, the copse, perhaps that one rather than that one, was where the Parliamentary and Scottish Army generals were observing the board, moving the pieces around. Wow. 1644. Marston Moor marked really the sort of conclusion of that first phase of the English Civil War. Parliament and the Covenanters won it, and that really, it meant that the Royalists lost the north, and they were hemmed in then to their capital, war capital in Oxford, where the King Charles was, and then the rest of the armies were in the southern half of the country. Of course, the one civil war wasn't enough, so then there was a second English Civil War, as it was called, after the regicide, after 1649, the execution of Charles, and that was rumbled on for at least 2 years, I think, culminated in the Battle of Worcester in 1651, which was a defeat for the Royalists, and that led to the flight of the young Charles II, the famous tale when he ran with his little group along the borders of Wales and then down into the southwest of England, hiding in the oak tree, and then ultimately securing a passage to France from Sussex. Weather seems to be on the turn. I'm about 5 miles from Wetherby, and this road is Rudgate, which is a line of an old Roman road. Skies are looking decidedly less summery than they did an hour ago, so I have a feeling that it might be intermittent showers from here on. The rain's settling in now, plus a headwind. I might have to face 30 odd miles of this. Got to pay back for that nice day at York. Just cutting up the road that divides Skycroft Golf Club. 74 miles ridden. Heavy rain, muddy back lanes. This round Paris-Roubaix around Adel. Goodness me, the rain seems to be stopping. I can see blue skies westerly, so I've just got a few busy miles to cross Leeds, and I'll be back on the camera. 90 miles ridden, and I'm grinding away up this awful climb up into Tong village. Cruelty. Coming through East Byerley. Headwind, and it looks like another lot of rain coming in. A ride with a little bit of everything. Even the weather joined in the fun. I think it's a suitably novel outing for the 1 year anniversary of the channel. I'm almost home. I think the ride will be nearly 97 miles. So I will say goodbye from this edition, this anniversary edition of Clipping In, and see you for another year back out on the Yorkshire roads. Bye bye.